30 videos in 30 days, day 15. That's 15, right? Yeah, 10-5. Sorry, it's getting a little bit confusing as the numbers grow larger. Today's question comes from several of you, actually. Quite a few of you emailed me and messaged me asking about meditation techniques, what I do when I meditate, and wanted to know about my own meditation practice, which I am happy to speak about because I think that meditation is such a fundamental part of learning how to connect with ourselves. When we allow ourselves to go inside and access that stillness within and learn how to hear the voice of our own truth and learn how to root into and really recognize that truth, that's really when things begin to change and open up in very new and exciting ways. So I think the first thing that I like to share with people when I'm talking about meditation is let's just acknowledge that it's a practice. There is no right way, there is no wrong way, there is no good, there is no bad. It's just showing up every day, doing the best that you can to connect to that inner stillness. Some days when I meditate, I'm really having an amazing time and I come out of meditation and I'm like, oh my God, I feel like $1,000,000, I feel reborn. Some days when I meditate, like even sitting still for 5 minutes feels like a lifetime and my brain is just chattering and moving and won't shut up and I just end up sort of walking away frustrated. But I think that understanding that it's a practice kind of lets us off the hook and says, you know what, there's gonna be days when, and there's days when I don't even meditate at all. In fact, there have been long periods of time where I have not meditated. So I think that's the first thing, is just to let ourselves off the hook and just acknowledge that in this modern world, if we can find 5 minutes a day just to sit still with ourselves, we have had a successful day. So in terms of ways of meditating, I think the most simple one is just a breathing meditation, and that is just finding a comfortable position. Again, I don't do any, fancy complicated yoga poses. I don't sit cross-legged because my feet always fall asleep. I just sit in my chair, sit on the sofa, sit in a comfortable position where I can be upright, not laying down, because if I try to meditate laying down, unless it's like a guided group meditation, I almost always fall asleep. So I like to sit down in a position where I can relax and just really be at ease in my body so that I'm not distracted by uncomfortable positions or poses and trying to worry about my body while I'm trying to find stillness. So a breathing meditation is quite simply just breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth, and just continuing this cycle and focus on your breath. Just let the rhythm of your breath become hypnotic. Let it be something that you just become aware of. You can create a pattern and a rhythm with your breath. And as your mind wanders, and it will, you just bring your awareness back to your breath. If you find your mind wandering and suddenly you're thinking about work or your grocery list or what happened yesterday or last night, you just bring it back to the breath. So just sitting with your eyes closed and focus on your breathing. In the beginning, what really helped me was to set a timer on my phone. I would set it for like 10 or 15 minutes because it allowed me to stop worrying about, I wonder what time it is, how long have I been meditating, sort of looking for my phone so I could check the time. Just letting myself off the hook and just saying, okay, I'm gonna do it for 10 minutes. I'm just gonna breathe for 10 minutes and we'll see what happens. So that was the way that I first started meditating, was just breathing. In fact, actually, that's not true. The first way that I meditated, and this is another way that I'll share with you, was like a toning meditation. I don't know where I got this idea, but I think it was from when the monks do the throat singing. I think it's the Himalayan monks. I'm not sure if that's correct, or Tibetan monks. Anyway, I'm so ignorant, clearly, when it comes to geography and monastic traditions. But some monks that do the throat singing, I was inspired by that. And being raised in a musical household and having a musical background, sound was something that was really powerful for me. And this is a meditation that I still like to do. And you just do a toning with your mouth. So inhale. So you can do it with the mouth closed, or you can do it with the mouth open if you want a really dramatic sound. Just do and just keep doing inhale and then exhale with the sound, and inhale and exhale with the sound. You don't have to force the breath out. It's not about creating a crazy volume. Just find a note that is comfortable and just tone and make the sound as long as you have breath. And then when you're running out of breath, and then start the cycle again. I really like the vocal toning meditation. because I love the way that after doing it for a couple of minutes, like 5 minutes of that, it starts to feel really cool because your body starts to resonate and your body starts to vibrate. It's kind of like when you clap your hands a lot. I don't know if you've ever been at like a show or a concert and you're just clapping your hands like crazy, and at the end of the night your hands are like buzzing, they're vibrating because you've been banging them together all night. It's the same thing when I do like the toning or the vocal meditation. I start to feel my cells and my body just vibrates and buzzes, and it creates a really, really cool experience to be in that sound. So that's another thing I like to do. I also, a very simple technique is to just imagine that, like, you know, and this one helps if you find yourself really mentally distracted and you find that there's a lot of mental chatter, the monkey mind. So when you're in meditation, this is similar to just the breathing technique. Just inhale and exhale, and if you have a thought or a distraction that comes up, just imagine it like a wave on the beach, right? The wave comes in and the wave goes out. The thought comes in and the thought goes out. So you're not resisting the thought. You're not trying to fight the thought. You're not trying to push the thought away. You're just acknowledging it like a wave on the sand, and then you're letting it return. Also, there's another visualization technique that I like to use, and I imagine I talk a lot about the inner landscape, our inner world, and a lot of times what I will visualize in my mind is when I have a lot of thoughts or I'm finding myself distracted, just imagine a lake or a large body of water when it is totally still and totally smooth, and there's not a ripple or any sort of disruption in it, and the surface is completely smooth like a mirror, and it's just reflective and glossy and flat. And whenever I have too many thoughts or I'm finding myself distracted, then I see the surface of that lake getting really choppy and turbulent, and then I just remind myself, okay, we're going back to the smooth, glassy surface of the lake. That really helps me. I'm a very visual person, so that really helps me find that stillness in that place again. There's another one that I like to do, which is the body part meditation. And this is something that I think is really effective when we have either physical pain, like I had a shoulder issue for a long time and I wasn't really sure what it was about. There was some structural stuff that was going on, but it was also it was rooted in an energetic imbalance and an emotional imbalance that I was hanging on to some old stuff from my past. And what I would do is I would meditate and I would just breathe in and out of my shoulder. And I would just breathe in and out of my shoulder for like 3 to 5 minutes. And I would just connect with that body part, really focusing on it and just become aware of what was going on, allowing myself to feel the discomfort or the pain and then move into it and really breathe into it. And then I would ask it, what is this about, shoulder? What do you need me to know? What's the message here? What can I do to help you heal? What do you need? And that was an ongoing practice that I did for several months. And what I would also do is I would meditate and I would breathe in and out of the shoulder, and then I would write. Sometimes I would write down what I heard in meditation, or I would just keep a notebook close to me, and after I had meditated, I would sit down and ask the question, what do you want me to know, shoulder? What can I do? And then I would just journal and write. So those are some things that I have found that help me with meditation. Again, just find stuff that works for you. I think the cool thing to remember is that with practice, you get better. So even though you might be really distracted, which, oh, by the way, someone else, there's sort of a two-parter here. Someone asked about meditation, but then she also asked, why does the mind resist it? There's a million reasons why the mind might resist it. I think that in our day and age, think of how much stimulus we are receiving all of the time. I mean, for the past, up until the past, 10, 12 years, we didn't have a phone in our hand all the time. The internet is a very new invention in terms of the scale that it is on our planet. We had a lot more time and space in our day previously where we were quiet and still and we allowed the mind to go to rest. Now it's like the mind is always being fed some sort of stimulus, and I think in many ways the mind has gotten addicted to stimuli, and it's always looking for something, so it always seems to be running even if there's no new information up there. I think part of it also is that the mind resists that stillness because the mind is, in many ways hates a vacuum. It always wants, something to put a label on, something to identify, something to define. And when we're seeking that still quietness and the absence of thought or the absence of identity for those transcendent moments, the mind is like, but this is not what I need stimulus. I need the label. I need to think. I need to do. So I think just remembering that it's a practice, allowing yourself to show up, make a commitment that even if you can only do it 5 minutes a day, it doesn't always have to be in the morning. It can be on your lunch break. Hell, go into the bathroom at work and sit in the stall and breathe for 5 minutes. Go out into your car, find a quiet place in a park, somewhere where you can feel uninterrupted or undisturbed. I think just in whatever way you can do to access that still place, make a meditation practice a regular part of your routine and allow yourself to experiment. If some people like guided meditations online, some people like to do it their own homegrown way, some people like group meditations, find what works for you, integrate it into your daily routine, and remember that it's a practice. Thank you everyone who wrote in with this question. I hope that this helps.